What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Little flustered, just finished the audible, but we are back in action here on Betting with the Bag. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. Happy Friday evening to all of you. We have Al Mack joining us in 3 minutes. 3 minutes time. And then right after that, we're going to have Maxwell Smart breaking down this college basketball card. He's already in our chat, ready to get to work. Jeff Billings in the house. And what up, Jimmy? I love the Leafs money line and the Devils first period and money line for NBA. I love the Pistons full game in first half and the Rockets full game in first half. We got John Luby in the house. Yenny Toon, Kanaskat, not applicable. DX Filer, Prince of the City, Damian McCorston, Deerslayer Ski, Jaime Minuto, Gerald Martinez Reese, Prince of the City, Stephen Dollery, Von Polo, Long Balls Larry in the house. All right, let's get after it right now. I'm not adding any plays to my card. So just to quickly go over my card, I'm on the Devils -1. Why don't we just see if I beat these line moves very quickly? We'll go to Sportsbook Review SBR odds page, and there's Yu Chang Yu in the house. So I jumped on for a big score. I jumped on these New Jersey Devils. It's a fade against Evgeny Malkin. I got +115 on the money line. The best you can get right now is +103. There's minuses on the board. That makes me feel very, very good. -1 gave me a +223. I'm on the Capitals -1 too. I did decide to pull the trigger and fade the Habs. I got money line -151, puck line +165. I'm staying off Blues Jackets, but I could understand the tricky, sneaky little look on the Jackets. I'm not going to do it, though. I'm on the Flyers -1. I got that money line at -141. The puck line at +171. That gave me a +112 -1 line. And money coming in on Ottawa. And I think that's a mistake. And I love the under 6.5. I'd love to see what's going on there just very quickly. I love the under 6.5. Vigneault has got their forwards playing very accountable hockey. They're all trying to make sure that they keep their jobs right now with Vigneault watching them so closely. I got the under 6.5 at -110. If you want it now, you can get a -111 at 5 dimes. So it's still available there. All right, so that's what's up. I'm rolling in NHL right now, and those are my looks. I'm rolling in NBA right now, and the only look I'm on is the Magic at -3, although I am interested in the Grizzlies. Let's just take one look at the Grizzlies to see if that trigger should have been hammered. No, still 7.5 across the board. I'm very comfortable focusing only on the Orlando Magic -3. There is a 2.5 at UWager right now, and we will see. We will see. Eddie Euler says Flyers will get better under Vigneault. Watch for a big winning streak. Wouldn't surprise me. And Long Balls Larry doing some tailing tonight. I look forward to it. We're double-digit units up now in NHL and NBA, so we're looking very good. So that's my card. I'm not going to pull the trigger on the Grizzlies. I'm going to leave everything like that and feel comfortable. Feel very comfortable. All right, so let's move forward right now. Let's bring in our Al Mack coming to us live from Toronto, Ontario on this Friday evening. Okay, we don't have Al Mack's not ready to go. Sorry, I thought he was all good. Okay, so let me know when he is ready. Gerald Martinez says, "Why not the Pistons?" It's because I've not been taking road favorites, and taking the Flyers tonight in NHL is like the first time I've taken a road favorite in a long time in NHL. You're not going to continually beat these sports with road favorites. Stephen Dollery says, "What's the best play in NHL?" What's my favorite play in NHL? It would have been the Devils at +223 on the -1 line. That's not available anymore. I would say the under 6.5 in Ottawa, Philadelphia is the best play on the board for me. What I have the most confidence in. All right, let's bring Al Mack to the show right now. Al Mack, how are you doing on this Friday evening, my friend?
Good, man. Getting beat up in NFL, so let's just focus on CFL today if we can.
That's no problem. We have a big playoff coming up right now. I'm going to move over to CFL right now and see what we're talking about. A big upset with the Bombers smashing the Stampeders. But let's start with the early game on Sunday. Eskimos, Tiger Cats. This open Tiger Cats -4.5, now 6s across the board. What do you think of this spot here?
Yeah, like you said, so both home teams lost last week in the divisional semifinals. And this week, I think this is a spot where the home team has an advantage. You look at this, Edmonton traveled back home after beating Montreal instead of staying out east, which is something they did all season long. I think that might have been a mistake. The extended travel, leaving Montreal and then headed back to Hamilton. just a few days later. That's a problem for me. Can Trevor Harris repeat what he did versus Montreal again? He goes 36 for 39, 421 yards and a touchdown. Running back CJ Gable goes for 2 touchdowns on just 54 yards. Can they do that again against Hamilton in Hamilton's biggest game in almost 20 years? Personally, I don't think they can. Simple as this. This is a 15-3 team taking on an 8-10 team, and when it's all said and done, again, this is the biggest game in Hamilton's franchise history in 19 years. So full disclosure, I have Hamilton to win the Grey Cup. I have $200 on Hamilton to win the Grey Cup at plus 325. So yes, I do think Hamilton can win this game. I think they will win this game. I think the -6 that we see on Bet365 right now, I think that's almost right on. I have Hamilton as about six and a quarter points better than Edmonton, but I'm not going to take that because I can't overexpose myself. So as my advice, yeah, take Hamilton, but for me, I'm going to go with the Edmonton +6 just to hedge my Hamilton position. I'm hoping to land a middle, but what I really like is the under. You look at this, Edmonton under on the road this year, 7-3, and Hamilton under at home, 6-3. Hamilton under overall, 11-7. Edmonton under overall, 10-9. So you're giving me a 51.5. I don't think we're going to see the same type of shootout that we saw in both what we saw in the divisional matchups. So I really like the under 51.5 in this one.
Interesting. The under in the Edmonton Hamilton, and you've been laying off totals for a little while, but see a green light here for the under. Let's move on to Bombers Rough Riders here. This total low down to 44, and it's stuck at 44 all week. Rough Riders opening up at -4. Now 3.5s at BetOnline and Pinnacle. 3s everywhere else. Bombers Rough Riders, Al?
Yeah, so again, just full disclosure, I have both Winnipeg and Saskatchewan on small picks to win the Grey Cup. I grabbed Winnipeg last week to hedge my position on Calgary, and then I grabbed Saskatchewan now just to hedge my position on Winnipeg. This is a tough one, man. You got Zach Collaros faces his old team. Just a few weeks ago, Collaros was on the Argos practice squad. Suddenly, he's behind center in the Western Conference Final. You know, Collaros is probably better than Fajardo for Saskatchewan when it's all said and done, but the numbers don't lie. The Riders have a better offense. They have a better defense. This is going to be a tough game for the Bombers. Saskatchewan has been put off to the side multiple times in this conference. Everyone was penciling in Calgary for this Grey Cup to host their own Grey Cup in Calgary. Now that's out the window. I think Saskatchewan is the team to back here. I have some friends that were talking about maybe taking Edmonton on the Winnipeg on the -3 here. I was with them, but I'm just looking at the numbers now. Saskatchewan puts up about a half yard more per play than Winnipeg. They give up about a half yard less per play than Winnipeg. So I just think, the one thing that has me hesitating is that Winnipeg as a dog all season long has done really well, 6-1 ATS. They're 13-6 ATS overall. But then at the very same time, you look at Saskatchewan, ATS as a favorite, 9-3-1, 12-5-1 ATS overall. So yeah, based on my power ratings, I gotta go Saskatchewan -3. I don't like the -115, but if it gets to 3.5, I'm gonna be hesitant there. I also like the under, but the problem is that I think that I just think that 45 is low, super low. I would like to get 46. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to play the total in this game until probably midway through the Hamilton-Edmonton game. I think you'll probably see some overaction during the day. So that total of 45, if we can get 46, I'm all over it. So I like my strong plays for the weekend in the CFL card are the under in Edmonton Hamilton under 51.5 at -110. I got that at Bet365. I bet Saskatchewan -3 at -115. I couldn't really find it anywhere else that was better in any of the places that I deal with. So I had to go with the -3. And then I like the under in Saskatchewan, in the Saskatchewan Edmonton game, but my buy price is 46, so I'm not going to play it yet.
Very interesting. I'm kind of hesitant to make moves. I haven't been focusing on CFL as much as I would have liked to the last few weeks of the season, just pretty much riding the Argos to cash and doing nothing else. So we have the under in Eskies, Tiger Cats, and God, that Bombers Rough Riders is a tricky spot. I'm going to spend a little bit more time here. Al, moving over to NFL, I know you've had a bad couple weeks back to back, but how has the props market been for you, and are you still hammering the first touchdown scorer?
It's been rough, man. I went 0 for 12 last Sunday for the first time. So I'm now just going back to what I started with the positive EV plays, and just something to mention, underdogs outright in the NFL this season, 55, 57 and 1 on the money line, plus 22.4 units. That's completely unprecedented. The underdog has almost won more games than they've lost. So that's something that I'm looking at. Honestly, it's coming to the point where I might have to take every dog on the card, split 4 units up on the Sunday's card, and put it all on every dog, because it just makes me sick that I missed out on Atlanta and things like that. So I'm changing my kind of my perspective with the last couple weeks in the NFL, just because there's so much randomness. But one play that I do really like is the under in the Denver Minnesota game. Denver under 7-2 all season long. I just think that Minnesota without Thielen, this is kind of like a get healthy game, even with 40 points. It's one of those things where Minnesota's a 10.5 point favorite, but the total's 40 points. I just don't see it. I see this game being like 17-10 Minnesota. So I really like the under in Minnesota Denver.
I have a quick question about another under. What do you think about this Bears Rams total? Both these totals are right around 40. You think Bears Rams goes under?
Well, yeah, it should. I think, I'm the only thing that makes me hesitant is like what you guys said on the Audible, is that there's defensive points scored, but I don't think there'll be that many defensive points scored. What I am worried about is if suddenly the Bears offense might wake up, because I kind of favor the Bears in this spot, just because we've seen how Goff has played under pressure. So at a 40.5, yeah, I would probably take that, but I would wait and see if you can get some action on the over and then jump in. If you can get 42 at like -118 or better, I would be all over that. That's a play that I would probably lean towards come like Sunday morning.
And then very quickly, your Leafs are in a bit of a rut, going up against the Bruins team on their first losing streak of the year. What do you think about the Leafs without Marner, and will you be backing them tonight?
I don't know. To be honest, I think the shot that you got to take with right now is grab some futures if you can on the Penguins, because it's going to seem like the Penguins and the Leafs are going to be battling for those last 2 playoff spots, just by the way that it's looking. If the Leafs don't get their shit together ASAP, they're not going to be in the top 3 spots in the division. I'm worried. I'm starting to get extremely worried about the Toronto Maple Leafs. But this is a big test game, and I've said it over and over and over again on this show. The big games in Toronto, national TV, first period under. These guys will be, they'll be clenching their stick a little harder. Both goalies are going to be tuned in. You're going to see a lot more conservative play, especially with the Leafs, allowing what they've been allowing in their past few games. So first period under on the plus money in big games at Scotiabank Arena every single time. I like it.
I love it. Al Mack, thank you so much for joining us. Follow this man on Twitter at Spark Al Mack. Al Mack writes articles for us here at Sportsbook Review. Tell us a little bit about your work there, and then say give some guidance and some love to these great cappers in the chat.
Yeah, so I'm always just putting out my parlays for NCAA football. I've done really well with that, 8-2 over 5 weeks for 10 units, and then coming up, we're getting into the thick of things with boxing. I'm going to be writing about Wilder Ortiz, Ruiz Jr. and Anthony Joshua too. It's going to be awesome. So look for those. That's all coming up very shortly. And one piece of advice that I can give for this week, Hamilton, grab them still right now. You can get them to win the Grey Cup at plus 180. I think it's theirs to lose. You look at them versus the rest of the field, you get plus 180. They're going to be favorites if they win this game, so you have a chance to hedge. Join me and take the Hamilton Tiger Cats to win the Grey Cup.
Interesting. Hamilton Tiger Cats to win the Grey Cup is a look that I find interesting. Maybe it's I didn't realize that you were still getting a nice plus line there to win the Grey Cup. Thank you so much, Al. Much love to you. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Yeah, thank you very mumuch. See you soon, guys.
There he is, Al Mack, joining the show on Friday. And we go right from Al Mack to Maxwell Smart. Max coming off a 12-3 day, up 8.75 units. He is crushing college basketball right now. And Lamont Williams says, can you please recap his picks? Yes, he's on the under. He's on the first period under in Bruins Leafs. He's on the under in the Ticats game, Ticats Eskimos this Sunday, and he's also saying take the Ticats to win the Grey Cup at a big plus line right now. Let's roll the intro for Max Smart.
It wasn't until 2018 that the diamond in the rough went from hooligan to king of the world.
The guy couldn't play for shit, dog. He was awful. But can he cap? Guess he can.
Max, my man, back-to-back giant days. Almost up 20 units in the last 2 days. How you feeling on this Friday evening?
Feeling good, I'm watching some college basketball. Cashed to Robert Morris already, but Merrimack is going to let me down. They had a really good first half, but now they've only scored 3 points in the second half, and Dartmouth's defense is suffocating. So I may be taking a loss in that, and obviously that has me a little distracted right now. But I'm ready to go, and I'm hoping that I can keep this streak going because it feels really good to be able to come on the show and produce like that.
Is exactly what you have been doing. So going over your Twitter right now, we have official plays here. One tweet of them, right? One tweet here, starting with Coppin State?
Yep.
Beautiful. All right, let's show Max's record now. Overall record, and it's gorgeous. It is a thing of beauty. 24 games over 500 right now. Wow. 19 units up, 14.25 ROI. Absolutely spectacular work, Maxwell Smart. Now let's go to Max's best bets. That's also been absolutely glorious. 5-3, 20.75 ROI. Sean Williams in the house. I am also 9. Oh, one thing though about yesterday, I gave out a first half play on Longwood. That game, it didn't show on Sportsbook Review, but that game had actually started. That game had started when I made the bet. It cashed, but I can't take that as a win. The rules that the great Pete Loshak set down, because that game had started, I can't take that as a win. So I only went 2-0, tailing Max yesterday, not 3-0, because I can't count that as a win. Max made a full game play on Longwood, but he tweeted that out earlier. And that wasn't even one of his official plays. So Max coming off a 12-3, 8.75 unit official plays here. All right, let's get after it right now, and let's start breaking down the plays that Max has already given out. We are going to go over to college basketball. I'm going to move over to Five Dimes as my opener. But first, with Pinnacle as my opener, let's talk about Max's first look. Coppin State plus 15.5. I've been taking close looks at Max's action, and what I've noticed is he's hitting at a very high rate with his dogs. There's nothing that Max is more successful with right now than dogs plus the points. And here he's got Coppin State plus the points. Let's find it right now. Rotation number 407, 408, Coppin State, Northern Illinois. Coppin State opening up at plus 17 all the way down to 13 or 13.5. Pinnacle still hanging to 14. Max got in at 15.5. Why are you backing Coppin State here?
Well, we've seen what Coppin State's done already. Obviously, we got to give them credit for the Loyola win, but you know what? I think that with Kamar McKnight, the transfer coming in, I think that he's really added a good level of scoring, a level of consistency that wasn't there last year, and that was plain as day if you watch this Coppin State team. I think that along with DeJuan Clayton, they're both averaging 14 points per game, but their issue for me is turnovers. If they can limit the turnovers that they're committing, because they have a combined 18 turnovers, I think that they can be successful against this Northern Illinois team that's very one-dimensional in scoring and relies on Eugene Germain to score pretty much all their buckets. He sets up the offense by attracting the defense. He's averaging 22.5 points a game, but this is a team that has turnover concerns also, with 5 guys averaging at least 2 a game this early in the season. That's not a good sign. 56% for the free throw line for Northern Illinois, and it's just a team that I just can't get behind right now. You want to give me 17 points, you want to give me 15 points, you want to give me 13 points. I think that's fair. I think Coppin State has proven already that they're hungry, aggressive, and confident in themselves, and the team that forces 17 turnovers a game and 47% of their shots are from the three-point line with 32 attempts a game, I think that's a play that I can get behind, because if they get hot from the three-point line, we know what's going to happen. They may upset.
And Avatar is saying, should we still take it at 13.5? And maybe I shouldn't be answering that question. I'm not going to take it once it's moved this big in the direction of Coppin State, but you think that it could still be supported at 13.5, or 14?
If you're thinking that you don't want to take it at the tail end of the line, I applaud you. I think that's the smarter move. But that means that you can hit it on the first half. There's a 2-point first half advantage for Coppin State through the first couple games this season. And I think that if you're getting 9.5 or 10 points, I think that you could have some value there.
Yeah, no, I should let Max answer those instead of me advertising. Max is a guy who's, up 20 units in NCAA basketball just on the show alone, let alone the live work he does on the live line, cashing nonstop. Sports Cake says, proud of my guy, Max. Yeah, man, just watching you this last week and a half has just been a joy, an absolute joy. Gabriel Fluricourt says, Gonzaga. Eddie Weller says Gonzaga senior admin Gilder is a Texas A&M transfer facing his former school at College Station, and you are also backing Gonzaga here tonight. You got Gonzaga at -7. Let's see what it is now. It opened at -6, and it's gone all the way up to 8.5. Max, why are you on Gonzaga, and should you pull the trigger even at 8 or 8.5?
Yeah, I think that Gonzaga is going to hopefully rout this Texas A&M team. I think that Texas A&M is definitely going to try and slow the pace. We've seen Wendell Mitchell in one of the worst shooting slumps in his collegiate career. He's shooting like 28% from the three-point line. It's kind of bad. There's an issue with this team when it comes to free throw shooting. Under 60% at 59. No TJ Starks, who's just been suspended. I can't remember why he was suspended, but when you lose your point guard, that makes a big difference, because then you have multiple guys handling the ball that you don't really want handling the ball. You want them setting up on the perimeter for a pass. J.J. Chandler and Savion Flagg, they're going to have to carry the load offensively, but I think that the most impressive thing about Gonzaga is not who's there, it's who they brought in. Anton Watson, Drew Timme, these are guys that are young, energetic, athletic, big, and you know what? They're producing early, and I think this is the difference in Gonzaga. Mark Few brings in the kind of guys that can step right in, and I think that we're going to see a dominant Gonzaga performance on a national stage tonight. So even at 8.5, I think that you're in a good spot. I think you take it.
Okay, there you go. There's your answer, Avataz. Let's move on to your next look. Another dog spot, South Dakota State. Rotation number 725, 726. South Dakota State, Nebraska. South Dakota State opening up a plus 6.5. That's where they stand right now. Bookmaker has taken it to 6. Max, why are you backing South Dakota State here?
Yeah, this is probably viewed as a popular dog. Excuse me. But Nebraska just doesn't give me anything that I can do to trust them. They have a 3-point shooting issue. They have a free throw shooting issue. None of their top guys, Deshaun Burke, Gervais Green, or Cam Mack, are shooting over 40% from the field. I just can't trust this team. And they're worse in second halves. Sometimes they play good in a first half, and then I can't trust a team that can't play 40 minutes. Although South Dakota State obviously is trying to create this new identity with Doug Wilson, the JUCO transfer coming in. He's done a marvelous job transitioning, averaging 19 and 7. But I look for David Wingate tonight to really put up some points. He's a real 3-point threat at 46%. And I think that when you have 3 guys that are grabbing over 6 rebounds a game, that's going to work against a team that is inefficient from the field. And if you get out in transition, like I think that South Dakota State will, I think that you can get some easy buckets, and they can probably outright win this game if Southern Utah can do it. They probably won't need overtime. Just got to limit the turnovers. Turnovers are a big deal with this team, 16 a game. But if you're looking to get on South Dakota State, I'm on it. I like the number. I'm actually going to bet the first half money line and add that to the show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's do that right now for you. By the way, while I'm line shopping right now, Rafa, while I'm line shopping, can you, Rob Elias wants to see Max's record in NCAA so far. Could you put Max's full record up while I'm line shopping a first half money line for this spot that Max wants on, let me just grab it, on South Dakota State. Here we go. First half money line, South Dakota State. And Max is getting, come on, bring it up. All right, here we go. South Dakota State, you're getting, the best I can give you is a plus 175 at Heritage and William Hill. Is that good?
Yep, that works for me.
All right, we have Max's first edition here. We have a couple questions. While I'm giving you this right now, Muhammad Joma has a quick question. He wants to know about what you think about backing Gonzaga first half.
Yeah, I think that Gonzaga leads this game and wins this game wire to wire. I'll be very surprised if they aren't able to get their offense going and they aren't able to speed Texas A&M up and use their size. That's their biggest advantage against a team that wants to slow the pace. If you could score down low, I think that you can do that from the beginning of the game, and if they make an effort to do that, the 3-point line will open up in the second half, and they can go crazy from there.
There we go. South Dakota State plus 175, and also backing. I'm going to take a look at this Gonzaga first half right now. Fatfish says, I'm driving right now. Can you please put the place at the bottom at the end? Yes, I can. Nilo says, Maxwell, what was that play? That was South Dakota State first half at plus 175. He's already on South Dakota State full game at plus 6.5. All right, let's move on to Arkansas State right now. Another look that Max has on his card. Let me move over back to spreads and totals full game, and let's see why he likes Arkansas State. Let me open this up quickly. A lot of games on this card. Let's get to Arkansas State right now. Show me Arkansas State, please. And I got it. UC Davis up against Arkansas State. Rotation number 743, 744. Arkansas State opening up at -4. That's where they stand right now. This total opened up at 135.5 and is all the way down to 130.5 at Heritage, 131 everywhere else. Why are you backing Arkansas State here, Max?
Okay, so first off, let's talk about UC Davis for a second. Joe Mooney, Matt Newfield, Ezra Manjon. Okay, these are guys that can score the basketball, but they're not going to score from the 3-point line. This is a 2-point oriented offense from what I've watched, especially against the game against Idaho, where they had to come back in the second half to win, to move on to play Arkansas State. Or I think it was actually scheduled. Never mind. But my issue with this team is 58% free throws, 14 turnovers a game. I would like to say that they're balanced on offense, but they're inefficient, they're slow, they're not moving with a lot of tempo, and I think that Arkansas State can play that kind of game, and we saw that against VMI last night. This is in their building. This is a tournament that they schedule, and they bring teams in that I believe that they can beat. So I don't think they would have scheduled 3 teams that they didn't think that they could beat, and as long as Arkansas State hits over 32% from the three-point line, gets to the free throw line, and at least makes 65 to 70%, lowers at 18 turnovers a game, I think that they're going to be okay. They got balanced scoring with 4 guys averaging between 7 and 8.3 points per game. So it's about just matchups, and if there's an advantage, feed that guy the ball, and let's see them own their home court. I want to see Arkansas State dominate like they did last night against VMI.
And Max is on Arkansas State -4 at -110. Next up is a question from our guy Reese. He says, what does Max think about UNC University of North Carolina Greensboro? And I'll tell you what, Max is on UNC Greensboro. This is rotation number 823, 824. UNC Greensboro opened up at -15. Max got on it at -15. It is now up to -15.5 or 16s. Max, why are you on UNC Greensboro here?
Yeah, UNC Greensboro obviously is a team that I watch, I follow, I'm really impressed with. I think that when it comes to conference basketball, they're going to be able to reward us when it comes to totals. But in this game, I'm looking for them to just establish and dominate home court. You know, they played a tough game against Kansas, stuck around for the first half, and let it slide at the end. But you know what? They battled back. They played 40 minutes of basketball, and losing a guy like Francois, Francis Alonso, I forgot for a second, but he was a very ball-dominant player, and obviously it stopped Isaiah Miller and his growth. Well, now Isaiah Miller really has to step up, and he's got someone that's trying to emerge in DeMarco Williams. DeMarco Williams had a fantastic game, even though it was against a D2 competition. I look for him to get some minutes. He's explosive. He can get to the rim. He can get his shot wherever he wants. It's really going to be about James Dickey and Kyron Galloway dominating the paint, being good rim protectors, staying on the floor and staying out of foul trouble. And I think that they just stop any kind of offense that is coming in, any kind of penetration. And then I think that with Greensboro, they do have good perimeter defenders. I think that they dominate on home court like they did against NCAAB, and I took it -15, so I'm pretty confident on the play. Not first half. I like it full game. I like to give them a full 40 to cover any kind of spread.
All right, and I am copying and pasting all the questions that are coming in. So that is being my job when Max is breaking down these games. Also, my job is to figure out which games to tail. And I might be tailing this one. I haven't tailed any of them yet. Max has had a great read on William and Mary. Rotation number 409, 410. Hampton, William and Mary. William and Mary opening up at -5 now, 5.5 at Pinnacle, 6 everywhere else. This total has gone down a point from its opener, 155.5 down to 154. Max, why are you backing William and Mary here?
William and Mary's just impressed me with the eye test. They impressed me in the game against American. You know, they used their strength to their advantage, and I think that they can do that again against this Hampton team. Don't get me wrong. I respect Hampton. I think Hampton is a very good mid-tier conference team. I think that with Jermaine Merrill, this guy that can give you 35, he showed that last year in the game against William and Mary. And I think William and Mary, although they won that game, I think that they bring a different kind of offensive philosophy into this game, and that's with their twin towers. Andy Van Vliet, the junior college transfer, 7-footer, and obviously Nathan Knight, one of the most dominant big men at 6'10" in the CAA and mid-major basketball. With twin towers, you know what it's going to be. They want to slow the pace down, limit possessions, but they want to be efficient. And when you got guys that tall against a team like Hampton, I think that you're going to have advantages. Greg Hextall's going to have his hands full. I think that William and Mary cover the spread. I got them at 5. I had a play also on the under. Thank you to Mr. Arthur Mead. Shout out to him. Brought that to my attention. And I think that Thornton Scott gets his 3-point shot out tonight. This is a team that shoots 76% from the free throw line, 38% from 3, 49% from the field. I think that they can be efficient and play good defense, and I hope that we see that tonight.
I like it, and that's the first spot I will be tailing. I'm getting William and Mary minus 5.5 and minus 107 at Pinnacle. I am backing Max's look on William and Mary. We have one more spot that Max is on, and then we will break into additions. This is a spot that he is on, and so is Sean Williams. We've seen so far this year when Max and Sean Williams are on the same play, it cashes. I'm talking about Stony Brook here. Max got in on Stony Brook on the money line. Sean Williams got, and that was at minus 120. Sean Williams got in on Stony Brook at minus 2. Heading down this list to find Stony Brook. It's rotation number 423, 424. Stony Brook at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Stony Brook opening up at minus 1, now minus 2s across the board. This is a low total. Opening up at 128, now 129.5. Why are you backing Stony Brook here?
Yeah, I just think that Stony Brook is just well-balanced scoring. They got freaking 5 double-figure scores so far in the early season. Elijah Olaney has really stepped up, averaging 18 points and 4.5 rebounds. I just like the Stony Brook team from their makeup and philosophy. I think that they're going to be able to put the ball in the basket against the Texas A&M Corpus Christi team, who is very inefficient from the field, aside from Deshaun Charlton Thomas. And if you could shut him down, which we've seen it already, I think that you can really put a hurt on this team and win this by margin. I think this is another route spot where I just think that Stony Brook's not getting enough respect. I think that they cover in the first half. I think that with a +6 advantage in the first half, I think that they come out strong. They win the game early. There's no point in waiting around. This is a team that protects the rim very well, averaging 9 blocks a game. They're +4 in turnovers, +15% in free throw shooting, and they get a lot of shots. You know, if you're putting up 63 to 67 shot attempts a game, you're going to get opportunities to score the basketball. And if you're halfway efficient, I think that you could beat this Texas A&M Corpus Christi team, who will struggle to score 70 points, let alone 65.
All right, those are Max's looks from tweeting out earlier. Official plays, those are all of them, and I have listed them here. Actually, I'm going to space that out a little bit better. There we go. So Max is on Coppin State +15.5, -110. Gonzaga -7, -115. South Dakota State +6.5, -110. South Dakota State first half money line +175. Arkansas State -4, -110. UNC Greensboro -15 and -110. William and Mary -5, -110. Stony Brook money line -120. I am tailing those last two. I'm going to tail William and Mary -5.5, -107, and Stony Brook -2 at -105. Max, there you have it. Let's get to your additions on this card. I'm very excited to hear them. What up? What's next? What are you adding?
All right. Let's start with Oral Roberts in Iowa, Jimmy. I'm going with Oral Roberts on the spread today. I got them at +12.5. I would take it at 12 also. I think that there's also value in the first half tonight with taking Oral Roberts. I think that Iowa's a team that's very good at adjusting. They run out a lot of guys. They're running out Connor McCaffrey and Jordan Bohannon separately and together. I think that when you get a combined 40 minutes of them, if they're on the ball, I think that the second half is when they're going to show their prowess offensively. It doesn't scare me, though, because Max Abmas has emerged for this Oral Roberts team, scoring the basketball, averaging 15 points per game in the early season. And DeAndre Burns, a Little Rock transfer, he's done his job leading the team in scoring. This is a team that hits free throws, plays good three-point defense, has to improve their three-point shot, but they're shooting 32 of them a game. So from a make perspective, they still have a one make advantage. Obviously, with the big men that they have, they can bang down low, win on the offensive glass, and it's going to be a battle because with Tyler Cook not in the fold anymore for Iowa, I think that this is a much tougher game than it would have been. I think if Tyler Cook's in the lineup, I think that they cover this. But without him and having to learn to play without him and rely on Luka Garza to stay out of foul trouble, stay on the floor, I'm just not confident of that. So I'm on Oral Roberts. I'm on the full game, and I'm probably going to get on them first half. I just have to do a little bit more number crunching. You'll see that before tip-off.
Oral Roberts, rotation number 709, 710. Oral Roberts, full game, +12.5. I can give you +12.5. There's not a lot of them left. The -105 at Heritage. Does that sound good?
12.5 at -105? Oh, I'll take that.
Oral Roberts, full game, +12.5 and -105 at Heritage. And I will be tailing Oral Roberts +12.5 at minus 105 at Heritage. That's the third spot on this card that I will be tailing from Max. And let's keep going. I always know. So one thing, like when Avataz is looking at Max's stuff and he's like, well, look, this line moved X amount. Do you want to take it? Do you still want to take it? The way I do it is I let those go because I know that Max is a guy who hammers a ton of quantity of games, and I will find spots that fit into my criteria, and I don't need to rush. So I didn't tail any of the first, and now I've tailed the last three. Max is going to give us plenty of opportunities to find the right spot that fits in your criteria. Remember, cap the cappers. Max, what's next?
All right, so let's go to one of my favorite teams, the Duquesne Dukes, going up against the Lipscomb Bisons. Obviously, Lipscomb lost a shitload of offensive production. They're trying to replace it. The question is Asan Asadullah playing tonight? The big man's averaging 15 and 12 and a half. He is definitely the piece that I'm afraid of going up against Bailey Steele and Michael Hughes for Duquesne. But Sincere Carey's still the point guard, and I think that Sincere Carey's got a freaking Batman and a Robin now in Maceo Austin, who's really emerging, playing in the starting lineup, playing that shooting guard spot, and I think that we're going to get a good game for Duquesne. We're going to get an offensive game. I think that we're going to get an over game. We've seen from Lipscomb that they can score the ball with Andrew Fleming and Michael Buckland from the three-point line. They hit their free throws. They're volume three-point shooters, so if they're hitting it, we're going to get this over quick. All they got to do is limit turnovers, but if they don't limit turnovers, that's okay because Duquesne loves to run and gun. Give them a turnover, give them a defensive rebound, they're going to push the ball and they're going to hit it. So at home, they play much more aggressively offensively. I've noticed it, I've watched it, and we're going on the over, and I'm taking over 146 if I can still get it.
You can get it. It's going to cost you 7 extra cents. Over 46 at minus 117 or over 146 and a half at minus 110. So it'll cost you 7 cents. You want the over 146 at minus 117?
I'll take the over 146 at 117.
And it is yours. It is yours. I'm locking that in. While I'm locking that in, what's next on your additions?
Okay, so we're going to go to Mount St. Mary versus Lamar. This is a game where I'm going to be looking to take Mount St. Mary on the first half. TJ Atwood and Davion Buster are doing a lot of offensive production for them, but TJ Atwood's a 60% free throw shooter. You know how I feel about that. Davion Buster's doing a lot of work defensively, but the top dogs are all they got. All their stats are a little inflated because they played D2 teams. This is their second D1 action tonight, and I think that Vado Moore's coming off such a terrible game against such a tough defense in Washington and that 2-3 zone. I think that they're going to be able to get their shot off. I think they'll be able to score the basketball tonight. And I think that they're going to be able to surprise us once again. This is a team that's already played Georgetown. They've already played Washington. They played both of those teams tough all the way through. And I think against a competition like this is a time where we see Jalen Gibbs really take over. Vado Morris and Jalen Gibbs are both good free throw shooters. I can rely on them at the end of the game. I can rely on them at the end of the half. I can rely on them if they get into the bonus early. Just avoid scoring droughts. Limit your fouling. Show how playing at top flight prepares you and elevates your game against a lesser competition like this. Just play your game. Move your ball around. Because when they get good ball movement, that's when they get good looks at the three-point shot, and they can hit that. So it's going to be a battle on the glass, force turnovers, hit threes, don't cough it up. And I think that with a first half +6 advantage, I think that we're in a good spot to hit it. So what number can you give me, Jim?
I can give you, so it opened at +1.5 first half. It's now gone up to +2.5. But very interesting watching what Pinnacle's doing with it. If you want Mount St. Mary's at Pinnacle at +2.5, -127. And it's -104 on the other side. So they're not giving you a plus line on the other side. They do not want you to take Mount St. Mary's first half at +2.5. You can get +2.5 at Bet365 at -105. So they clearly just moved that up from 1.5 or 2. So you can get +2.5 at -105 at Pinnacle, a 22-cent better look than what's available. Or sorry, at Bet365, 22-cent better at Bet365 than Pinnacle. So +2.5 -105?
Yes, please.
and locking that in. What do you think about that when you see Pinnacle at plus 2.5 minus 127?
Usually it's more in the 130s, the 140s that I start to really think, okay, yeah, I gotta find another book that I have. Obviously, I'd go on SBR odds page and I would do my line shopping. And obviously, if I don't have an account at that book, I'm gonna press on that freaking link. I'm gonna open an account, put some money on it, and get the better line, because you should never have to get a shitty line because you only have one book. But beyond that. Yeah, so
I like it. I'm not sure if I'm the tailor right now. Lamont Williams, I will just list my plays in the chat because I don't want to waste time that we have with Max right now. Max is adding Mount St. Mary's first half plus 2.5, and let's keep rolling along. What's next?
All right, so Western Carolina versus FSU. Obviously, FSU could have a conundrum type game where they could possibly lose. I'm not looking at it like from that perspective. I think that the defense really comes to play tonight. Leonard Hamilton's a shit coach, probably the worst coach now that Chris Mullen's been let go from St. John's. But this FSU team, you can't deny the type of defense that they play. 29% field goal defense, 27% three-point defense, 81% from the line on 19 attempts, under 12 turnovers a game, 2-point oriented offense, so high percentage shots. And Devin Vassell, the freshman, he's come in, he's looked real good. He's looked like all ACC good. So it's really going to be about how they play defense tonight, because we know from watching Western Carolina, even in the opener against Georgia, this is a team that can score the basketball, you know. With Mason Faulkner coming in, he's like a triple-double candidate every night. And Carlos Dotson, he's a heavy body that you really have to work on keeping out of the paint and keeping off the offensive glass. Obviously, this team has some free throw shooting woes, and Matt Halverson hasn't really been able to get his three-point shot off the way he was able to last year. But if this team is able to limit turnovers and defend and not be too three-point dependent, I think we can get this under. And I think that the way that it's moved up, I got to still take the under and fade the line movement.
Max, I was writing stuff in for NHL there, and I missed what game this was that you wanted the under, and I apologize for that. Which game is it?
Florida State and Western Carolina.
Florida State, Western Carolina, rotation number 691, 692. Wow. So this is a total that opened up at 143.5 and is all the way up to 149.5 at minus 112 at Pinnacle. Bookmaker just followed suit and brought theirs up to 149.5. I can get you an under 150 at Intertops. So this is wild stuff happening here on this game. You want under 150 at minus 110?
Yes, I do.
Wow. This is interesting. And we've seen Max do this. He's watching and waiting, saying that this market move maybe made some sense early, but late it's gone too far, and he has an advantage. Max is on the Western Carolina, Florida State, under 150 at minus 110. What's next, Max?
Well, there's also a second play on this game.
Beautiful.
I'm going to take Western Carolina on the first half.
All right. Let me just put this in here. Florida State under 150 at minus 110. There we go. And then we're going to go a first half on the spread for Western Carolina. Let's see what we're dealing with here right now. And first half. Wow. So this opened up at plus 10.5, and now you could get a plus 12.5. No, I don't know if you want it. Here's another situation that we just dealt with. Pinnacle, if you want plus 12.5 on Western Carolina, you pay minus 129, Max. 11.5 at minus 110 everywhere else. Let's see what decision Max makes here.
No, I lay off of it.
Okay. So,
yeah.
All right, that opened up plus 10.5. You can get a plus 11.5 everywhere else, plus 12.5 at Pinnacle, and Max is laying off that first half. Man, that's I love watching this stuff. I love watching you make these decisions. Okay, Maxie, what's next?
All right, so we're going to go to the Auburn game against Cal Sun. First off, no Lamont Diani. That is a huge deal, but it's not a deal breaker for this Cal Sun team. You know what? They could still score the basketball with Terrell Gomez. He showed that in last game against Pepperdine when he put up 33. So he's not afraid to take a shot and really lead this team. But this is a play that I gotta take the over. This is a team that hasn't allowed a team to score less than 80. This is a get right game after a real tough game against the University of South Alabama for Auburn. Obviously, it was an in-state rivalry, a lot of emotion. Well, now they're going to have a more free-flowing game where the defense is going to be a little more lax. Lance Coleman's not going to be really closing out in time on three-point shooters. And this Auburn team, they can shoot threes from 1 to 4 in the lineup. So I'm looking for Isaac Okoro to really have a nice impact. The freshman is leading the team in scoring, really dominant on defense. He's just a ball hawk. He's on your hip from when you get the ball until he freaking forces a turnover. And I think that with his defense and leading out the fast breaks in transition, this pace is going to be fast. I think points are going to get scored, and I'm getting on the over. So, Jim, what can you give me here?
On the over here, Cal State Northridge Auburn. It opened up at 153.5. The best I can give you, and there's a lot of market differences, I can give you over 154 at minus 113. That's available at Pinnacle. There's a 154 and a half at minus 105 at Heritage. Those are your best options. 154 minus 113 at Pinnacle, or 154 and a half minus 105 at Heritage.
The Heritage line, please.
The Heritage. So we're going over at 154 and a half at minus 105. All right, what's next, Max?
Just FYI, Merrimack lost that live play plus 6.5, but I did win the Montana State plus 4, so feeling good there. 2-1 for the day, so let's keep it going. My next game, I think that was the last game. Yep. That was the last game that I wanted to talk about, so I'm ready to talk about whatever anyone else wants to talk about in the chat. Beautiful
questions coming in. So after those initial plays that I put in the chat, we have Oral Roberts plus 12.5, Lipscomb Duquesne over 146 at minus 117, Mount St. Mary's first half plus 2.5 minus 105, Western Carolina Florida State under 150 minus 110, Cal State Northridge over 154.5 minus 105. The three spots I have tailed: William Mary minus 5.5 minus 107, Stony Brook minus 2 minus 105, Oral Roberts plus 12 at minus 105. There's my guy DJ Big Boss in the house. Big Boss Ragu and I will be going live starting every Wednesday night moving forward with the Playoff Drive live. There we go. Okay, so let's start bringing out questions that we have for Max. The first one is one for the money. Says, what does Max think about Michigan? What does Max think about Michigan? Elon, Michigan. Let's go to spreads and totals here at sportsbookreview.com. And there we go. Elon, Michigan, let's go, pop it up. Michigan opening up at minus 25. It's gone down to 23.5 at both Heritage and Bookmaker. This total opened up at 139. It's now at 140. Max, Elon, Michigan.
Yeah, this is a spot that I didn't look at today. It's a big card, obviously. I apologize. But if I was leaning anywhere, I'd probably lean with Michigan. But I just don't know this team well enough, and I don't trust Juwan Howard's coaching yet that I want to lay this kind of number with them.
All right. Don't trust Juwan at this point. It's all good, Guru. I'm not going to write it in. It's just for recording purposes. This was our dream, Pete and I's dream, what we're doing right now with Max. And the record keeping is painstaking, but it's worth it. It's worth it. It's just so worth it to all of us to have this transparency and honesty. And what would have happened if Max was down 20 units, not up 20 units? I mean, it's you got to have big balls to be honest in this business. All right, the next question comes from Rod Zawacki. Says, what does Max think about Monmouth at plus 27? Let's go to Monmouth right now. I'm looking for it here, trying to find it. Monmouth at 5th ranked Kansas. Kansas opening up at minus 26.5. There is a 27 on the board at Bovada. This total opened up at 142.5, and it's down to 140.5 in a couple spots. Max, Monmouth, Kansas.
Yeah, I can understand why people would be looking to bet on Monmouth tonight. they can really frustrate you. They can really slow you down. They're not going to be a real flashy, efficient scoring team. So as long as you're not a dangerous three-point shooting team, which we have seen Kansas not be, I think there's a good shot for them to cover this. Bill Self may take the foot off the gas and may not run and gun it, but yeah, it's not a play that I'm looking to get on. To be honest, it's a lot of points and a lot of question marks with how Kansas is going to operate offensively. Are they going to operate through Marcus Garrett, or are they going to operate through the front court pieces in like Azubuike and McCormick?
The next question comes from our guy Reese. Wants to know what you think about Alabama at -1.5. I'm going to look here for, here we go, 703, 704, Alabama, Rhode Island. Rhode Island opening up as a -2-point favorite. Now Alabama, -1 favorite. Max, do you think Reese should pull the trigger on Alabama here?
I'm looking the other way on this game. I understand that Herb Jones is going to be playing for Alabama, so that's a really good sign for Alabama. You know, you get one of your most dominant defensive rebounding pieces, and I think against Cyril Langevin, you're going to need him because he's a dominant guy. You know, this Rhode Island team is definitely not very three-point oriented, and they're not very efficient from it. But I'm also impressed with Jacob Toppin. Obi Toppin's brother. So I'm looking at Rhode Island tonight, and I think that they salivate at the opportunity to get a matchup like this, and I think that they bring their best game. So, yeah, that's how I'm looking at this. I'm looking at Rhode Island if I were to be betting it.
Okay, let's keep rolling along. The next question comes in from Gabriel Fleurycourt, wanting to talk about Utah, Minnesota here. Utah, Minnesota. I'm looking for the rotation number right now. There's Utah Valley. Where is Utah? And there we go. Minnesota, Utah, rotation number 727, 728. Utah opening up at -4, 4.5 at Pinnacle, 5s across the board. Total opening up at 145.5, now down to 144. Max, Utah or Minnesota, asks Gabriel Fleurycourt.
Oh, this is a game where I think that I like Minnesota. What has Minnesota shown that they can do? Minnesota's shown that they are tough as nails. You know, Marcus Carr is a very good point guard, and it's evident by his 84% of the minutes that he's playing on the floor right now. The coaching staff trusts him. He's making good decisions with the ball. Daniel Oturo is a developing 6'10" big man that we're seeing very dominant, and he's starting to shoot the three ball. You know, he's 71% from the field right now. The free throw shooting's good. Marcus Carr, that's where he needs to improve. He's only 54%. But with guys like Peyton Willis and Alihan DeMar and Gabe Kalsher, like, you got a nice set of guys. I think that obviously depth is going to be an issue for them. But I think that with a guy like Michael Hurt, he can come off the bench. He can play multiple positions. He can give you some energy. And I don't think that he really needs to get a shot. So I like having a guy like that on the floor with the style and the pace that Minnesota wants to play. They're going up against a tough three-point shooting team in Utah. But in my mind, it's Minnesota or pass.
Minnesota or pass, says Max. Matt Randall, taint play today is very hot right now. Everything Matt Randall is touching is hot right now. 17-5 last 3 days. He's on the taint play today of South Carolina -25. Here in questions, Donkey Capping says, Jimmy, can we get a South Carolina breakdown? And then Gerald Martinez says, ask Max about the South Carolina taint. The South Carolina taint opens up at 5 times at 24.5, and now we see 23.5. So it's moving in the direction of Cleveland State. What do you think of Matt Randall's taint play today on South Carolina, and do you want to make a move on it, and do you think the guys in the chat should make a move on it?
Listen, when Matt Randall puts something out, I'm a smart guy. I cap the cappers, and I know who are the best cappers, and Matt Randall's one of the best cappers that I know. So if Matt Randall likes to play, and he's going to make it the taint play alongside his other plays, well, I think you have to take it just on basic principle. So I'm on this game a different way. I got the under. I got 135.5. and I see this line move down 4 points, some places 5. I just think we're going to see a slow-paced South Carolina team that really suffocates on defense. A.J. Lawson running the offense, my Canadian compatriot, just like yours, Jim. And I think that we're going to get a good opportunity to see T.J. Moss and Jared Bolden really step up and take some minutes, because this is a balanced team. I'm waiting for a bunch of guys to distinguish themselves and really start to take a significant role. You got a lot of guys doing a lot of different things, and the 3 points going to be an issue for them. I don't think they're going to shoot that well, and I think that they're just a team that naturally plays unders. I think that when we watched that Wyoming game, we saw a level of defense that shows us that they can cover these types of spreads and not even go over 100 points. So if you're asking me from what my perspective is of South Carolina in this matchup, I think it's a good spot. And I don't know if we should be putting too much thought into why this line has moved down. I think that if you get 2 points less on Matt Randall's capping and the market probably having a skewed view, I think that's a good value play.
I love it. Great breakdown. Red Girl joining us. Bobby Digital in the house. Great to see Bobby Digital back in action. Okay, I'm copying and pasting some more questions. But Kenneth Heath, first off, Nasty Nate says Telmax Rhode Island is the play. Kenneth Heath says, can you ask Max if Duke smashes tonight? And then Red Girl has joined our chat and says, do you think that what does Max think about the under in this spot? Georgia State, Duke, rotation number 689, 690. This total opened up at 151. It's still at 151 on, can you expand on that, Rafa? It's still at 151 at Bookmaker. It's at 152 or 152 and a half everywhere else. Georgia State, Duke. Do you think Duke smashes, and what do you think of the total?
With Duke smashing people, I always favor the under if you can get me between 147 and 155. That's where I have Duke in a sweet spot for unders. I think that we're going to see a Duke team that is not very dependable when it comes to shooting 3-point shots. Obviously, a lot of them don't shoot it. Trey Jones is 11% from the 3-point line. The only guy who's making them is Matthew Hurt. He's 7 for 14. I think that this team is going to dominate down low. They're going to score a little slower. I think that the pace is going to be a little slower just because I don't think that they want to use the kind of depth that they have. I think that they want to be able to move away from having to rely on a guy like Joey Baker or a guy like Jordan Goldwire. I'm personally not impressed with either of the game, and don't even get me started on Jack White. Like, Jack White needs to go back to the movies and playing a guitar or freaking whatever. The guy just misses 3-point shots, and thank God he's only taken 6 this year, but he's going to get into one of those games where he shoots like 9 of them and misses 8. So I'm not a fan of Jack White, but I do think that Duke smashes tonight. So it's not going to be a bet that I make at 28 points, but I support anybody that's going to do it. I think that this is a spot where you can take a number with a team like this because you know that they're going to go hard for at least 30 to 35 minutes of the game.
And Red Girl wondering about the full game under. You think that's a look?
If it's still at 152 or 151, then yes. If it's gone under 150, then I'm going to probably lay off of it in this particular matchup.
Okay, there we go. There you have it. Let's keep rolling along. The next question comes to us from Rizzler7. It says, any thoughts on Florida Gulf Coast going up against Mercer? Mercer opening up at -5.5. Now we have 6.5 or a 6. This total opening up at 144.5. Now 145 or 145.5. Max, Florida Gulf Coast, Mercer.
Yeah, obviously with this Mercer team, Ross Cummings is back in the lineup to go along with Ethan Stair and Dimitrovic. Dimitrovic obviously has played out of his world, really stepped up in the absence for the game or two that Ross wasn't playing. And I want to shout out Mercer's Twitter feed or Twitter page. I asked a simple question, couldn't get a simple answer, but that's how it is, you know? But with this Mercer team, I think definitely they're more dominant on their home court. There's some decent 3-point shooters on this team. There's just a lot of efficient free throw shooters. With Kamar Robertson, with Dimitrovic and Ethan Stair, you got good free throw shooters, and then you add Ross Cummings is just freaking apple pie. So in this game, I look for them to play a slower pace. Florida Gulf Coast doesn't want to get into a run and gun game. This isn't Dunk City anymore. This is a team that I think is struggling to find an identity that works for their personnel. I think tonight, if you're looking to make a play, Mercer's at a good number, but I'm more looking towards the total, and I'd be looking towards the under.
Another question coming in from Nothing Ordinary Sports is ask Max about West Virginia, Pittsburgh. West Virginia opening up, this is rotation number 693, 694. West Virginia opening up as a pick 'em. Now 2.5-point favorites. This total has dropped up to 6.5 points at some books, from 145 down to 138.5. Max, West Virginia, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the question is, how is Pittsburgh going to play against this press 2 years in a row? For the second year, excuse me. So that was their problem last year. Obviously, we know they lost by 10, but like a lot of these guys were freshmen. Xavier Johnson now is a year more mature, and we know that he's going to take flight this year. It's just a matter of waiting. And Trey McGowan's getting back on the freaking saddle, being able to make a three-point shot, getting to the free throw line. I think that Pittsburgh's ready to go. But in my mind, I think that West Virginia is the right side here. I think that Jermaine Haley is ready to go. I think that these guys want this game. This is a game that I could see a fight breaking out. This is a huge rivalry game. This is a game that I'm personally not betting on either way. I'll watch and enjoy. And, of course, I'll support my boy, TH412, Tyler Hicks, who obviously is going to be supporting Pittsburgh tonight.
All right, and we only have a couple more questions coming in, and then we will get Max's best bet, which is on a heater right now. This question comes in from Gabriel Fleurycourt, Boise State, UC Irvine, rotation number 723, 724. Boise State opening up at -3.5, now 4s and 4.5s, and this total opening up at 143, now 141. Max, UC Irvine, Boise State.
Yeah, this is a game that I bet early, but I still need to do more research on before I buy out. It's another situation like the Weber State game last night. If Evan Leonard isn't playing for UC Irvine like he didn't play against Pepperdine, then I have to buy off it, and I have to take Boise. And then I'd probably take Boise on the additional spread and sell a couple points and get a plus price on it. That's how I look at this game, and it's like black and white.
Tremaine Arline and Guillermo Zertucci both wanting to know your thoughts on this Gardner-Webb, North Carolina spot, 427, 428 rotation number. North Carolina opening up at -25. Now we have 25.5s and 126. This total opened up at 147.5. This is nuts, Max. Bookmaker has it at 144.5, and the over is at -145. And Pinnacle's 4 points higher at 148.5, and that's -116. That's crazy, crazy shit. Gardner-Webb, North Carolina. What do you think here, Max?
Well, if those are good lines, then on principle you got to take the under 149. We saw how North Carolina played against Wilmington. They struggled to cover by margin, but they definitely play great defense. And I think that with Cole Anthony, you're seeing a brilliant specimen just to watch, let alone hopefully cash on. I'd be looking at that under. It's not going to be a play that I make either way. Probably something I'll watch live later tonight, but I'd be looking at the under with the line discrepancy based on Pinnacle and Bookmakers line. And I think that North Carolina will get it done at home. I think that they'll romp. They were able to cover against Notre Dame, so you would think that they would be able to cover against Gardner-Webb, who lost like 40% of their scoring with two guys. So.
All right, we're getting close to that. The reason why Fat Fist is because that game is on right now. It's 4 minutes left in the first half. All right, we're going to get one more question in from Denizzle14, and then we're going to break into Max's best bet. Denizzle14 asking, what's Max's opinion on Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky? Western Kentucky opening up at -10.5, now 9.5 across the board, and this total hovering around 156, Max. Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm a Western Kentucky guy. I love Western Kentucky, and as long as that line's going down, I'm watching, waiting, and when I get that notification that it hits 9, I'm going to beat that shit down. All right? Listen, let's be frank. This is a goddamn talented Western Kentucky team. If they don't win the goddamn Conference USA, they should be smacked in the face with you-know-what. But Cameron Justice has fit in perfectly into this lineup. He's playing in 71% of the minutes on the floor with his three-point shot. Jared Savage with his defense and his ability to get out in transition. And then, of course, the big man Charles Bassey, who made the right decision coming back to school, getting another year of learning, and I think he's going to be a better professional and a higher draft pick because of it. I'm looking for this Western Kentucky team to take this in-state rivalry game seriously and smack them around.
There you have it right there. And we're going to let Shaquille Bell, our guy Shaquille Bell, jumped in with a very late question. We'll let him roll with it. It's UMKC versus Milwaukee, 7-15-7-16 rotation number. Milwaukee opening up at -2.5. Now 3.5s and 4s are present now at Pinnacle. This total's dropped a few points from 135.5 down to 131 or even 130.5. Max, Kansas City, Milwaukee.
Yeah, this is a spot where by nature I'd look at backing Darius Roy at home, but it's just it's a weird line, it's a weird movement. I don't have an edge in this game. I had to look at it before. Just nothing really. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. You don't have to have everything on every game. And we've come to the spot. Max is on the heater. Best bet time. I know that Max does not enjoy it, but it just shows how much he cares about it. Max, best bet. You're 5-3. There's no possibility we don't go into the weekend with you plus units on your best bet. What is it today?
All right, so I spoke about them a little earlier. They played a tough game against a tough SEC team with a lot of size, but I'm taking those South Alabama Jaguars tonight. Jim, if you can get me a -3.5, which I saw at Pinnacle before the show, I would love to get it because you know what? I believe in the South Alabama team. I believe in freaking Josh Jay. I believe in Trey Mitchell. I love Don Coleman and Andre Fox's addition to the lineup because you know what? It hides Chad Lott, the Howard transfer, the grad transfer. Well, you know what? All three of these boys, as long as they stay on the floor and stay out of foul trouble, they're going to be kicking ass, taking names, scoring points, cashing tickets for us. So South Alabama is my team. I love South Alabama. I've talked about them to lots of people that have had conversations about mid-major teams. This is a Sun Belt team that I think should win the conference as long as they stay healthy. And the X factor is the sixth man coming off the bench. Herb McGee played there last year, has stepped back, taken a reserve role. I think that he's done that like a goddamn gentleman, and I think that if he gets the opportunity tonight, he's going to let everybody know that he's got some serious game from the perimeter and drive him to the bucket. And I think South Alabama gets it done for us. So let's go South Alabama -3.5.
Daryl Lyles and Canascat already on South Alabama. Feeling good about that. We can give you that -3.5. There's two books that have it. Robbie Tagaloa says, yes, I'm on South Alabama too. We have -3.5 and -110. There's a -3.5, -115. We're looking to lock in the -110 for Max. And I believe that's available at Intertops. And it is -3.5 and -110. Like I have been throughout, except for that one total, I have tailed every one of the best bets. So I'm 5-2 on the best bets here, and I'm going to back it again. South Alabama -3.5, -110. All right, I'm going to put a link to all of Max's plays here. I think that it's short enough that we won't get into trouble here, so I'm going to do that here. Okay, there we go, and it does all. Oh no, it doesn't fit. Damn, okay. So I'm going to do 2 tweets with Max's plays in the chat. Maxie, my man, incredible job. What a run you've had the last couple days. What a job you've done this weekend. There's going to be ups and downs, but it's so important to enjoy the wins and the victories and the success because we know how much it hurts when we have bad nights. So unbelievable work. Try to get rest this weekend. Thank you for all you do for us. It means the world to us. Max, follow him. Follow this man at Maxwell Smart 420 on Twitter. 24 games over 500, 19 units up. Max is crushing it. I will put all of his action here on the chat. While I'm doing that, Max, could you please introduce Freddie Fortune for me?
Yeah, absolutely. I have the distinct pleasure now 5 days a week of bringing to you a gentleman, a great human being, A funny man. A kind man. His name's Freddie. His name's Fortune. He's coming to you right now.
Freddie, let's do it. I got moves to make. I got games to bet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Today's a great day.
Today's a great day,
Fucker.
is it? Oh, that's wonderful news.
Yes, it is. You know why?
No, please tell us.
Okay, I just farted. I got some great stuff coming up for you guys. That's great. You know what I fucking love?
You know,
I
I'm going to
fucking
ask
hate.
you. I've got you, Fat Fist. Absolutely right, Fat Fist. We're going to be dropping your video. Don't worry. We got a Fat Fist Play Today video coming up in a second. We'll close the show out with this, with a Fat Fist Play Today
Yeah,
video.
Fat
Sorry, a little
Fist.
flustered.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, what's you seem
You
pumped?
know what I fucking love?
What?
Futsal. And there's never futsal in my book. But there's futsal today, so I decided to bring a delicious parlay for you.
Oh, nice. A futsal parlay. Not applicable asking if Larry hung himself. No, but he's not
about
well.
to overdose in heroin.
Yeah, he's not well. He's not well.
At all. I tried to take some pictures of him, but there's like some people behind Larry, like protecting him or something. But
You look a little.
I'm great. Yeah.
If you look your, I'm gonna leave. I'm just gonna leave.
I got some delicious plays for you.
Okay, why don't we do this? Right before we hear this futsal parlay, let's run a Fat Fist Play of the Day
Yeah,
right
Fat
now.
Fist.
Fat Fist,
Fat Fist,
our
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Let's see what Fat Fist is on in this
Brazil.
card.
Yeah. Fat Fist. Uh-huh.
What's up, Jimmy? What's up, Flash? What's up, low baggers? Mr. Fatfist is back, ready to beat these bookmakers this weekend. Let's go. We got UFC San Paulo, Brazil behind us. Jacare Silva versus Jan Bakovic. It's going to be a good fight. I'll touch on that at the end, though. First up, we got Wellington Thurman versus Marcus Perez. Listen, Marcus Perez is nothing to write home about. In his last fight versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, I mean, Fluffy was just a smaller guy. I mean, he's a small 185-pounder, let's put it at that. And he just got out-grappled by Perez and subbed in the second round. Wellington Thurman, his jiu-jitsu, his grappling is up to par, trust me. But what separates these two are the hands. I believe that Wellington Thurman's going to piece him up on the feet, and that's what's going to separate these two in this fight. So I got Wellington Thurman all day at plus 105 odds. You can get that at William Hill. Next up, we got Bobby Green versus Francisco Trinaldo. I like that. I like Bobby Green in this fight big time. Just got done watching the weigh-ins. Francisco looked sucked out and not happy at all. And Bobby Green looked the opposite. Shredded, happy, happy to be there, hyped like a son of a gun. So I'm jumping on that hype train right now. I'm jumping on Bobby Green at plus 123 at Sportsbet. And also, I'm liking Paul Craig. I never thought I'd say that in my entire life of MMA betting. But against an aging shell of himself, Shogun Rua, I believe he gets the job done. I also believe Shogun retires whether he wins this fight or loses this fight in his hometown of Brazil. But I do believe that Paul Craig can get this done on the feet and on the mat. I mean, if this goes down to the mat and he gets him in top control, top position, I believe he pounds him out and or gets that sub. So plus 246 at Sportsbet, Paul Craig. Also, I'm liking Worley Alves to beat Randy Brown, who I do not believe is UFC caliber, who drops the ball time and time again, who looked crap against Mickey Gall, barely got that decision win. So I'm jumping on Worley Alves here at minus 122. I believe he should be much more of a favorite, so I'm going to jump on that. I believe there's much value there as well. And that's it. I do like Jacare at plus 165. I might sprinkle a little bit something on that, but this is his first fight at 205, so be careful. Jan will be the bigger guy, but I just watched the weigh-ins, and Jacare looks shredded. All right, that's it. I just want to touch on one last thing. Our boy Jared Flash Gordon is fighting against Charles Oliveira, biggest dog on the card. I believe that gets past the 6-7 minute mark, and he stays off the mat. He can pull that W out. So let's go, Jared Flash Gordon. Let's get that W. Bring it home for us. Till next time, Fat Fist is out.
Thank you for your plays, Fat Fist. That was great. Great video. I love UFC. I'm excited for UFC this weekend. As you can see, Jimmy is no longer with us. Jimmy, he passed away 30 seconds ago, so I'm in charge of betting with the Freddy now. I got some plays for you. As you know, I fucking love futsal, so there's futsal for tomorrow. I got a plus 157 parlay. It's Cartagena minus 350 over Rivera Navarra, and FC Barcelona over 6.5 versus I don't fucking know. I feel so bad right now. So again, Cartagena minus 350 and FC Barcelona over 6.5 at plus 100, which gives me a plus 157 party at Bet365. I'm sorry, everyone. This is some terrible news, but I gotta go place some bets. Leche. And los bookmakers. Goodbye, everyone. I'm sorry.